Hey guys, okay, so today I decided to do a video on basically kind of like how to survive high school, information on or tips and advice for incoming freshmen, etc. And also I'm doing like a fashion beauty tip advice, and then I'm also going to do just general first day of high school advice kind of thing. If you are not into these kind of videos, then I would go ahead and just exit out, because I'm not doing a tutorial. I'm not, showing you hands-on something. I'm just giving you my advice. And I figured since school was coming up and everything, it's something that's really important and that I really wanted to do. So I'm going to go ahead and get on to the beauty and fashion portion. Number one, I would keep all things simple. That means your hair, your fashion, your makeup. I would keep it pretty simple, because I take comfort in the fact that when I'm nervous about something, especially like I remember how nervous I was on my first day of high school, I take comfort in the fact knowing that I'm not going to be the one that's like everybody's staring at because I have crazy makeup or I have crazy hair or I have crazy fashion. I take comfort in the fact that I kind of blend in on my first day. I don't want people to be like, oh my gosh, look at that girl, her eyeshadow is up to her eyebrows. But anyways, I try to keep things simple as possible, but yet still kind of hold my own in the fact that I am an individual, and I want to look nice, I want to look well kept, and etc. I'm not saying go and just go bare, you want to look nice for your first day, but you don't want to be, attention grabbing, crazy makeup, hair, and fashion. That's what I'm trying to say. Also, I wanted to show you guys, they have these little drugstore quads by Maybelline. I'm sure you've seen them. And on them, like, this is the Sapphire Smokes one, and it's got like a green and a blue and like a gray type color. I recommend these little quads because they're really easy, and you have all your eyeshadows that you need in one. And also they have on the eyeshadows, it tells you on the back like how to apply it. See the little eyebrow or in the eyes, it tells you how to apply it, and then it tells you which one's the base, which one's for your lid, which one's for your crease, which one's for eyeliner. But I would recommend a neutral one. Okay, and then my next piece of advice, I would say, instead of foundation, I would like actual foundation. Since you're in high school, and I mean I do this still, and if you like foundation, I'm not saying stop doing it for just the first day. I'm saying, like, for high school, if you don't want to use foundation, you don't want that cakey look, you don't want it to look too makeup-y, you want to look more natural, I would recommend tin moisturizer, like as a substitute for foundation, or powder. Powder is what I do on my face. I do not wear foundation. I put a primer on, and then concealer, and then my powder foundation from MAC, just my Mineralized Skin Finish Natural. That's all I wear for my face foundation wise, and then concealer. I really like, powder foundation. I like the look. So that's what I'm recommending for you guys, especially for high school. So I would recommend concealer, especially in high school. You usually have acne. You're usually going through all those problems. So concealer is a must for high school. If I did not have concealer through, I don't think I could make it through high school. Honestly, that's when I broke out in acne, was around 9th and 10th grade. And then I got it together in 11th and 12th though. So I got that completely under control in 11th grade. So I definitely recommend concealer for high school. That is an absolute must-have. Also for your lips, I would keep it, go along with the whole neutral tone. But this one you can kind of branch out a little bit more. I would recommend if you want just like a pop of color, you don't want to have like nude lips, neutral eyes. I would recommend like maybe just a gloss over your own lips so that your natural lip color can kind of shine through, or like a natural color lipstick, or maybe like a hint of a pink, not like bright pink, but just like a hint of a pink probably would be pretty. Now I'm actually going to branch out and tell you just some general advice. It's not beauty related, it's just some general advice that I have for you guys that, because I've been there, I know how nervous you guys were. I remember how nervous I was. My aunt dropped me off at school, and I didn't want to get out of the car because I was really, really nervous, but these things that I'm fixing to tell you really did help me out, and I still remember them. And I remember my first day like crazy, and I was really excited. High school is not as bad as people make it out to be. I had this envision in my head that they had all these like, grown-up high schoolers, and they're just gonna like make fun of all of these incoming freshmen. We're little kids, you know, we don't even belong in the school with them. You see on TV they're throwing kids in the trash can, etc., giving them swirlies. You know, that was my vision of high school, like being bullied. But no, it was not like that. They treated you just, you know, they also, you know, obviously a lot of them know what it was like to be a freshman, so a lot of them were really nice. Like the upperclassmen were really nice, and some of them, when, you know, if they saw that I was lost or something, they'd just kind of pull me to the side and be like, do you need help, you know, because I looked lost, I looked like that little incoming freshman, and they helped me and stuff. So don't be afraid about that. That's not a big deal. Don't think that just because you're a little freshman that they're going to, you know, bully you, or they're going to make you feel like that little freshman. They totally don't. They kind of, or I mean, at least my school, I hope that it's not like that at the other school, because that would be really bad, and shame on you guys if y'all do that. But, of course, you know, when you have pep rallies, or at least at my school, they're like, you know, sit down freshmen and all that stuff, but it was just fun and games. It wasn't like where they bully us. It was just fun. At the pep rallies and stuff. Also, I know this is probably what, you know, you hear your parents say, you hear everybody tell you when they know you're nervous. They're going to tell you that everybody else is in the same shoes as you. They're just as nervous as you, but it really is true. Like, I remember talking to my friends. We were so nervous to go to high school, and I was obviously on the cheerleading squad, so I had like a good group of friends already going into high school, and I had met other people and stuff going into high school, so I had my own little group already, which really did help. So I would recommend, like, you know, getting involved in around 8th grade with finding out, you know, clubs and etc. for going into 9th grade, because you can make friends. And so your first day, you're a lot more at ease because you already have your own group of friends, you know some people, you don't feel like you're just completely alone. So that really does help, so I recommend that a lot. But just know that everybody is just as nervous as you are for your first day. And if I was nervous for the first week, I would have to say, but after that I was pretty much, you know, good. I wasn't nervous anymore. If your school has a freshman orientation, I know my school did, and a lot of people didn't go, but I did. And, well, I mean, a lot of people went, but I knew a lot of people who also didn't go as well. But I definitely recommend it, because usually at the freshman orientation, they will take you around to your classes. You kind of get an idea of how school is, and you get an idea where your classes are. That helped me out a lot. So going on to my next thing, find out where your classes are beforehand, before school starts, because that was probably the biggest thing that that helped me. And also make sure that you have like your paper that tells you where your room numbers are, except wherever your classes are. Maybe a map, and just write down where your room number, just make sure you know where your room numbers is, because that is like key. And I also had a map too. I was the nerd, you know, at school. I was going around with my little map, but usually before I would look it over, like at the end of my first, we called it first block, I don't know what you guys call it, but we called it first block, and at the end of first block I would pull it out and I would look out where my next class is, and then be able to get there. I didn't get lost the first day. I was late to my second block class on my first day, so I definitely recommend booking it to your class. It's because it was so far away, and I knew where I was going, but I didn't necessarily know how long it was going to take me, so I was just kind of walking along, and I thought I was going to make it in time, but I didn't. So, I mean, and they're very lenient. Like, your teachers say that for the whole week or so, they're very lenient on people who are late or who get lost, etc. So, don't worry. The only factor is when you walk in and you're late, you know, you have everybody that turns and stares at you. That was my biggest fear, but it really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, so that is my advice. Find out where your classes are, book it, you know, to your class, make sure you're there on time. And yeah, so make sure you're not the person that comes in late and everybody turns and looks at you. Funny story, actually. 11th grade, it was 11th grade, and I had first block physics, and it was the first day of school for 11th grade, and they had changed the school times, and it was a really big deal. But I thought in my head that the new starting school time was at one time, and then it really was another. So I was actually like 20 minutes late or something like that, and I showed into class, and everybody just kind of looked at me, and everybody had been sitting in class for about 20 minutes, maybe a little less, because I thought the new school time was I was just totally wrong. But yeah, so make sure you know what time school starts. That was kind of embarrassing, but I was in 11th grade, so I was pretty comfortable already in school. But just make sure you know what time your school starts. And then my next thing is, at my school we didn't have lockers. We actually carried backpacks. But see, in middle school we didn't carry backpacks. We had folders, and then we would just carry a folder and then our pencil bag, or we'd have a binder in our pencil bag. But then in high school you actually carry backpacks. That's just how it is. And I didn't know that, and I was really nervous because I didn't know whether or not to bring my backpack that I had bought. I bought just in case, and I forgot to ask somebody. So on the first day I didn't bring a backpack because I wanted to be safe, and I just carried my folders. But actually I realized that everybody carries backpacks, so it's kind of, you know, I would just find out if your school, if you have lockers, like, just find out how things are at your school. Every school is different, because I know some people have lockers, and our school did have lockers, but nobody had one, and we just carried our books and stuff in our backpack, and that's just kind of how things were. But yeah, so just figure that kind of stuff out, if your school carries backpacks, or if you have a locker, or if they carry folders instead of backpacks. Just kind of, you know, blending in. That goes along with the whole blending in scenario. I wanted to not look like a freshman as much as possible, so I wanted to look like I had been to school there before. So yeah, just figure that kind of stuff out. Also, just find out if you need to bring anything, like at freshman orientation, or when they have an open house, which our school had. Also, find out if you need to bring like, you know, certain things like your teacher just requests for you to bring. I would find that stuff out. My school didn't on the first day. They just, you know, say come with paper, folder, pencils, all that stuff, backpack. That's pretty much it. You don't have anything in it, and they'll give you stuff. And usually, like, the first week's where you're signing all that parental information. This next one is huge. I cannot tell you, like, the burden it just lifted off my shoulders when I did this. When I was at orientation, I, you know, found out who all was in my class, my first block class, and I knew a girl that was in my class. She was like the only girl I knew. And so we weren't even really close friends, but we both knew each other, and we were both just, I guess, acquaintances, so we kind of made friends that day. I was the icebreaker, and I was just like, I am so nervous about school, like, I'm so nervous that I'm going to get lost or whatever, and then she was like, oh my gosh, I feel the same way. So we kind of made friends. I got her number, and she got mine, and then that day we scheduled a place and a time to meet before school. On the first day, and I think we met like cafeteria, I want to say, is where we met our first day, and we had, you know, picked a spot to meet, and then we would go together and walk to our first class, and that way you don't have to worry about, you know, what do you do if you get to school beforehand, like, you know, before your first class starts. Do you go to your first class, or do you meet up with friends and stuff? So I met with her, and then we walked to our first class together, which was a huge help because we both kind of leaned on each other, and we weren't as nervous as we were before if we just had to go by ourselves. Another thing is, a lot of this I'm just kind of going off how my school went, so I'm just kind of informing you if your school may be the same way. My school had 3 lunches because we had so many kids that we can't fit all of them into one lunchroom, or the cafeteria. So we had 3 lunches, and they would break it up, and they tell you by, like, you know, what your second block class was. That's what determined what lunch you were in. So and every year it was different, and it would change all the time. So just keep up with that and find out what lunch you have, and then I would just go around asking what other people have. I hope this advice really helped you out. I know this is stuff that I went off of. This is exactly like the same things that I did when I was going on my first day. This is going to be my first year in college now. I just graduated, so I know exactly what, you know, I know high school. I've been through it. I know my first day. It was really nervous, and to be honest, every year was kind of nerve-wracking, but not nearly as nerve-wracking as the first year. So I hope you guys had a great day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.